Good evening, America, and welcome to the QuarenTimes. My name is Adam Landry. Tonight you are watching the Landry Layout. Tonight we'll be covering a fairly sad topic, one that is a growing issue in the U.S. and must be addressed immediately. Our heroic law enforcement officers spend their days in the line of danger, where they are forced to make tough decisions under stress and witness no things any human should ever have to see. An increasing number of police officers are struggling with mental health, and the suicide rates are higher than ever before. Tonight, we are going to dig deep into why exactly this is the case and what exactly we must do as a society to combat the issue. After this short break, we are going to look at the impacts of stigma and common stressors of police officers so we can better understand the roots of the cause. And later, stay tuned for an exclusive interview with a Colorado police officer to find out his take on the issue. America will be right back. Stay tuned.
Soccer Locker. Score a deal, score a goal.
Welcome back to tonight's segment of the Landry Layout on the QuarenTimes. Tonight, we are covering the topic of the mental health of law enforcement officers and what must be done to better support our first responders. To begin, I would like to dig into a doctorate graduate school dissertation done by Nicole Christine Mauricio Quadro. The dissertation was created in her pursuit of a doctorate of psychology at California School of Professional Psychology, located at Alliant International University. The focus of her study is, quote, exploring police officers' attitudes and stigma regarding seeking mental health care and the roles they play in suicidality among police officers. Let's take a look at a segment from her research. As noted in the dissertation, police officers have, quote, highly taxing jobs that require dealing with various day-to-day stressors. Yet despite the risks, police officers are the least likely of all first responders to seek help. Hypervigilance, cynicism, and mistrust, the essential characteristics that keep officers alive while on duty, can be detrimental to their interpersonal relationships. And when work affects personal life, people are at a much higher risk of suffering from mental health issues. Due to long-standing, quote, cultural rules, however, some officers end up turning to alcohol and drug abuse, smoking, overeating, or gambling to cope with the stress instead of seeking proper help. Why? Well, the main reason is because officers are often afraid of losing their job if they seek help, a deterrent that must be mitigated. Let's take a look at this clip from the Chicago Police Department of an officer who was on the verge of ending it.
I can remember sitting in the 11th District parking lot. I got off at 1400 hours, 2 p.m. I sat in my car till the following day, 0500, which is 5 a.m. in the morning, contemplating, how can I get rid of this pain? I'm done. I'm tired. Don't want to deal with this no more. You get to that point that just end it all, forget it. You know, so that's when it got to me.
Furthermore, in her study, Quadro presents statistics from a study of 150 police officers at the New Haven, Connecticut Police Department. Of these numbers, we should be alarmed that less than 50% had ever sought mental health care services. Now, it should be noted that not every police officer would deal with PTSD or depression or stress or any type of mental health issue for that matter, but they should be routinely evaluated to ensure good mental health standing simply because their work puts them at such a high risk. Quadro found that officers are, quote, more likely to die by suicide than by homicide and are 4 times more likely than firefighters to die by suicide. Not only do officers face stress from violence and trauma in their work, but also from many other organizational stressors. A 2015 study done by J.P. Crank, referenced in her dissertation, concluded that, quote, the police organization is the #1 stressor for law enforcement officers because of the mistrust and occupational segmentation existing between officers and administrators. organizational level, officers are affected by lack of effective communication, inflexible organizational structure, constant shift changes, excessive overtime, intense workload, discrimination in police subcultures, lack of good working condition, and general interactions with society. All these factors combine to create a buildup of stressors for our law enforcement officers, leading to the rising suicide rates that we are seeing. So what's being done to combat this issue? Well, in 2018, President Donald Trump signed into law the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act of 2017. This law provides funding for peer mentoring programs and opens up many roads to more help for police officers. It states the Attorney General must create a report for Congress by consulting with the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Veteran Affairs on Department of Defense and Department of Veteran Affairs mental health practices and services that could be adopted by federal, state, local, or tribal law enforcement agencies. In addition, it enables research in the effectiveness of the following pre-existing resources. As you can see in Section 4 of the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act of 2017, in Section 1 it states the Attorney General shall A. identify and review the effectiveness of any existing crisis hotlines for law enforcement officers, B. provide recommendations to Congress on whether federal support for existing crisis hotlines or the creation of an alternative hotline would improve the effectiveness or use of the hotline, and C. conduct research into the efficacy of an annual mental health check for law enforcement officers. This public law signed in by the President is a strong step in the direction that is going to help us improve the situation for law enforcement officers. In order for us to see improvements, we will need action from all sides, including police officers increasing their willingness to seek help. After the quick break, we're going to hear from Officer Bruening, a Colorado police officer. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
For you.
And we are the Shoe News.
Not only are you saving money on shoes, but you're also investing in one of the most stylish brands in the shoe market.
So get your GS1 now for only
$69.99.
Wow, I didn't even know there was such thing. Here, son, try this on.
Okay, Daddy. Wow, it fits.
Thanks, Shoe Dudes.
Welcome back, America, to the Landry Layout. Here with us on the QuarenTimes is Officer Dave L. Bruening, a police officer of 17 years at the Jefferson County Police Department in Golden, Colorado. He has worked as a patrol deputy and is currently a school resource officer at a local high school. Officer Bruening, thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
First off, I would like to thank you for your service as a police officer to our communities. The work you and your colleagues partake in is often overlooked, so we'd like to thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. It's a team effort.
Absolutely. All right, so my first question is, while it's the natural instinct for a human to run away from danger, you and your colleagues, each time you go to work, strap on a bulletproof vest and run right towards it. What's it like doing that, and what does it mean to you and fellow officers in your field? How would you describe the stress levels of your job?
So first of all, for the first part of the question, my main goal for becoming a police officer or deputy sheriff is helping others. So when I put on the vest, when I put on the uniform, it's almost a mindset. It's a change in the way I think. I'm there to serve the public. Protect and serve is actually a motto, but it's something that I live by. So once I put my uniform on, as a police officer or deputy sheriff, I bring on the challenge. I want to go out into the public and help other people. As you mentioned, the second part, there is stress that comes with that. Because with law enforcement, you never know what the next call is going to be. You never know what you're going to run into or who you're going to run into. But you kind of have to have an open mind. Once you put on the uniform, go to it and do the best you can in each and every situation.
Absolutely, yeah, that's great, thank you. I'd say that the most pressing issue of tonight's topic, as stated in an NBC News article by Hannah Rapley and Emily R. Siegel, is that, quote, for at least the past 3 years, more police officers across the nation have died by suicide than in the line of duty. As a police officer, what do you have to say to this, and what do you think needs to be done to stop these law enforcement suicides?
So first of all, it is a problem in law enforcement. I think a lot of whether it be male or female officers, they hold emotions. We have to go into situations and calm things down, whatever that is. So we always have to kind of maintain a certain composure for that specific instance and for the people we're serving. But then once you get back in your car, once you get back in your your station or whatever it may be, you still personally have to fight through those emotions that you just went. So I know the numbers are high, and as far as I think I wouldn't say it's an epidemic, but I say that it is pretty much across the board where officers do not share their feelings or the stress that they're under or that they've been through, and it boils up, and it unfortunately could lead to horrific consequences.
Sure. So that being said, for you personally and your colleagues at your department, have there been any resources available to you in terms of mental health? And if not, what do you feel is lacking in that field? And what resources do you think could be out there that aren't out there for officers?
Okay, so the first part of the question, at least my department, like the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, we have a couple things. We have a peer organization, which is like peers that can help you out. So we have fellow officers that are trained. They go through various hours of training. So that's kind of like a peer or your partner that knows the job, knows the stress, and is able to help you through that, or someone there that you can talk to. But I'll admit this, I don't think it's widely used. I don't think many people utilize it. I have kind of a core group of friends or core group of people that I work with that I will share things with. One thing that we do, and it sounds terrible, is a lot of time you kind of joke around. I hate to say it like that, but in a very stressful situation, you may joke around a little bit between those close friends, and that does release stress. Personally, with our department, we have like a professional psychologist and his whole office. And I think it's upwards of 20 other psychologists that we have access to. Let's say officer-involved shooting or suicide within the department or a rough situation. He can go see this psychologist free. It's and there's numerous hours that are free to us to utilize, whether we're having issues at the job or marital issues or something like that. Based on the career, we could utilize their organization. But in the 17 years, I have not gone to them once. Not necessarily that I didn't need to, but it's just I know it's there. As far as lacking, there definitely could be more resources for us, or let's say coping mechanisms when you go through a traumatic situation. Instead of going back and just getting in your car and going home. My wife asks me all the time, like, how was your day? And my standard answer is, it was give very little information. So what you're talking about is, again, you kind of keep it wrapped in and you don't give it out. So I think if something's lacking in a department, they got to find a way for fellow officers to kind of release that stress that we're kind of going on. That answers your call.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense what you're saying. A lot of stress relief and management is all, much better when it's natural as opposed to when it's forced with a counselor or something like that. So, absolutely.
Exactly. And if you're told to go, like anything in life, if you are kind of mandated or told to do it, it's not going to be natural. It's not going to be, true. It's going to be, and I think it could even cause stress. Not saying that those psychologists or the things they have in place are not great, but normal officers are not just going to walk into it because it goes to you kind of not your ego, not your just it could be looked upon badly. Let's say.
Sure, absolutely. I completely agree with you there, and I'm glad that your department has those resources if someone were to need that. My last question for you tonight is, what message do you have for fellow police officers out there that may be struggling with PTSD or stress or even suicidal thoughts to that extent?
Honestly, I think, we take care of others. We take care of others. We take our whole career, our whole life is giving back to others, wanting to do the best in whatever situation that is. But as far as a recommendation or something I can say, it being in the profession for so long is, and this is the hardest thing, you have to take care of yourself. You have to realize that you're not Superman, that you can't fix everything, and basically take a deep breath, accept that you may need some outside help or some other peer help, and go. To answer the question, take care of yourself as good as you take care of all the other people you serve.
Absolutely. All right. Officer Bruening, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate having you on the show. We appreciate your wisdom. And again, we thank you for your service. Stay safe out there, and I wish you the best, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you as well. After the commercial break, we're going to take a look at Fairfax County Police Department to see what they're doing about the mental health crisis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Landry Layout on the QuarenTimes. To wrap up tonight's conversation, I'd like to take a look at Fairfax County Police Department. Listen to this excerpt from Rapley's article. One night in 2006, rain fell as Lieutenant Ed Redsky slumped in a chair in his backyard, a gun balanced on his knees. It was easier for him to imagine ending his life than it was to ask for help. I didn't feel like I could cope, he recalls. I wanted to stop feeling like that. 2 weeks before this, an armed man had stormed their department, shot and killed 2 officers in cold blood, 2 friends, 2 humans. Here's a quote the officer had to say. I didn't want to ask for help, Redsky said. I didn't feel that I could. It was the stigma and that, suck it up, don't worry about that. That's been the mantra for so long in this profession. If you have a problem or you can't deal with something, that's because you shouldn't be doing this job. You can't hack it. Around the same time, the Fairfax Department had reached out to Jason Carson, Director of Incident Support Services, to identify changes that needed to be made. The key change was this: not immediately taking away an officer's badge if they reach out for help. Instead, they undergo an extensive evaluation and are given the help they needed so that they can keep working. They also hired 2 full-time psychologists, hosted routine one-on-one sessions, and better tracked violent and traumatic experiences that officers went through. Through this program, they identified Lieutenant Redsky's struggles and saved his life. Every life is worth saving, and if your department can save just 1 life each year by adopting similar programs and policies, then we will see a real difference, one that is much needed. To the police officers out there, their friends and family, neighbors and coworkers, if you are struggling or know someone who is, please reach out. There are growing resources that will get you help. As Officer Bruening said, if you think you need it, get yourself help so that you can keep doing what you love, helping others. America, thank you for tuning in to the QuarenTimes tonight. This is the Landry Layout, and I am Adam Landry.